Hello, amazing students. I hope you're doing really, really well. Right now, at this time, we're going to be going over the answers to our Quiz 1 review. Okay, so together, we're going to problem solve. If you haven't figured out a problem yet, like for example, number 2 is a little bit difficult for especially problem B, we're going to be able to find something called answers. All right, whatever I write down, if you didn't write down something yet, this is definitely the time to write down the correct steps or the correct answers, or perhaps a drawing that you might have missed. Or if you've got the right answers, you feel confident about it, that's great. We're going to be able to check and confirm that we got it correct. So here we go. We're going to start off with number 1, where it asks us to work with the 5D process. So it says, 5D process. Miss Pacheco, Mr. Edwards, and Mr. Richards are 3 math teachers at Turner Middle School. Miss Pacheco is 3 years older than Mr. Richards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of underline the most important things that I have here, and I'm going to use an R for Richards. I'm going to use a P for Pacheco, and I'm going to use an E for Edwards. So maybe you did something different, but let's see if we get the same answer. Okay, so Miss Pacheco is 3 years older than Richards. So I'm going to say Pacheco is R plus 3. 3 years older than Richards. Yes. Or you can say 3 years older. Okay. Next up, it says that Mr. Edwards is twice as old as Mr. Richards. So we're going to write Mr. Edwards is 2 times the age of Mr. Richards. Let's confirm that's correct. Mr. Edwards is 2 times as old as Mr. Richards. 2 times as old is the same as multiplying by 2. And now this is where we get to the important part. It says the sum. What does the word sum mean? Sum means, addition. So if we add our Mr. Richards and Mr. Edwards, we get 81. All right, so now what we have to do is figure out how old each person is. Let's start out with a random age. We're going to start off with Mr. Richards. I'm going to guess Mr. Richards, he's probably an adult. I was going to say 10 years old, but that doesn't make sense. Mr. Richards probably is not teaching at 10 years old, maybe a little older. So I'm going to start with maybe that Mr. Richards is 20 years old. So if Mr. Richards is 20 years old, then what would the other ages be? So right now, I'm going to just quickly do the process of define. So I'm going to say that we choose R, and then we're going to get P equals R plus 3. So if we do R plus 3, what's 20 plus 3? That one's pretty easy, 23. That's how old Pacheco is. And then, to find out Mr. Edwards, we just have to do the green equation, which I have written here. I write it below. That's going to be twice as old. So if I do 20 times 2, remember this is 20 times 2, I would get 40. Notice I am doing some of the do section in this part right here, but I'm going to save the do section for where I have to add the ages. And my goal is to get 81. So If I add the ages of Mr. Richards and the age of Mr. Edwards, which I have as 40, would we get 81? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and circle the first one and the third one, and I'm going to say we have to add them. Add. 20 plus 40 gives us 60. 60 is too small. I always recommend to put a sad face if it's too small, or if a sad face if it's too big, but if it's just right, you can put a heart or a happy face. So since 20 was too small, right? 20 and 40 was 60. We need it to be 81. We need to go a little higher. Let's try again. I haven't done this problem yet, so I'm going to do the same process that you would do and try a number that's a little bit higher. So we have 25 for R. If Mr. Richards is 25, how old would Miss Pacheco be? Remember, to find Miss Pacheco, all we got to do is add 3. Add 3. So if I add 3, I'll get 28. And then for Mr. E, all I need to do is multiply by 2. So 25 times 2, 25 times 2 would be 50. Okay. Now my last step again is to go ahead here, add the 2 ages of just Mr. Richards and Mr. Edwards. Again, we don't care about the age of Miss Pacheco, unfortunately, but we do have to add the ages of just R and E. So if we add 25 and 50, we'll get 75, which is still too small. Again, on your quiz, you have to have at least 2 steps. At least 2 steps. So we already have 2 steps that were too small. I know I need to try a number that's a little bit higher. We reached the number 75, but it needs to be 81. 81, so we're really close. I'm going to say 27. Let's see if 27 is the right number. I hope it is. Let's see. So if Mr. Richards is 27, that means Miss Pacheco is 3 years older, 30. And hopefully you got this one right. 27 times 2? What's 27 times 2? 27 times 2 happens to be 54. And if I add these 2 numbers, I can see that these 2 numbers would add up perfectly to 81, which is correct. Again, I like to put a little heart or a smiley face to show that I knew that I could get to the answer. I just didn't know how many steps it would take. For me, it took me 3 steps. For you, it might take 2 steps or 4 steps, but remember, you have to have at least 2 steps with this process, with the 5D process. All right, now this is the most important thing, is I do see a lot of students answering the final step or leaving the final step blank. But for the declare part, declare just means, can you declare or state what your final answer is? It says, how old is each person? So at this point, we can say Mr. R is 27 years old. I'll put y dot o dot. Miss Pacheco is 30. Y dot o. And I think I'll just use black for this part. Mr. E, Mr. Edwards, is 54 years old. And I'm done. That's the answer. We got it. Hopefully you got it too. All right, we're going to move on to the next question. Are you ready for number 2? Number 2 is a probability question. So probability is going to have us solve for just 2, sometimes 3 different probability questions. This particular question only has 2. So let's see if we got this one right. It says, a bag is filled with 24 marbles. Okay, there's 24. Half of them are blue. Immediately, I'm going to start doing some math. Half of them are blue, so that means that there's half of 24. If I cut 24 in half, I'll get 12. It says 1/3 of them are red. 1/3. 1/3 is like dividing by 3, right? So what's 24 divided by 3? 24 divided by 3 is, you got it, 8 of them are going to be red. And this is the trickiest part, I think. It says the rest are green. So how many are left? If 12 of them are blue, right? It says 12 of them are blue. 8 of them are red. Then how many of them would be green if there's 24? So what we can do is a little bit of work on the side. It'll be 24 minus 12. And that number minus 8. And whatever's left is going to be the green. So 24 minus 12, we have 12. 12 minus 8 happens to be 4. There's got to be 4 green. Okay? So now, this is where we can start answering question A. Remember, probability has to do with the chance of drawing or pulling or rolling a dice and landing on a specific number. This one says your desired outcome is green. So how many desired outcomes are green? We know that there are. Yep. How many are green? 4. And how many possible outcomes are there? Yep, 4 out of 24. 4 out of 24 are green. So if you got 4 out of 24, that is basically correct. But you do need to make sure you always try to, what's it called? It starts with the letter S. Simplify. So what number, if you didn't do this yet, simplify right now, okay? So what number goes into 4 and 24? If we divide the top by 4 and the bottom by 4, the numerator and the denominator, we get 1 over, ooh, this is a tough one, 24 divided by 4. 24 divided by 4 happens to be 6. So there is a 1/6 chance. Are the chances of pulling green high or low? Yeah, 1 out of 6 is pretty low. Just like 4 out of 24 is a low chance. They're equal, actually, equal fractions, equivalent. All right, this is the part where it gets a little bit tougher, okay? It says, you pick a marble. Look, we're on letter B here, so let's read letter B. Letter B says, you pick a marble and it's blue. Okay. It says next that you don't put the marble back. Now what's the probability of drawing a green marble? Okay, so originally there were 24 marbles, but you take one of them out. Which color we take out? The blue. We take out one blue. So if we take out one blue, how many marbles are left? It says we don't put that marble back. If we don't put that marble back, we're going to get 23 marbles. Out of the 23 marbles, remember, it's not 24 anymore, it's 23. Out of those 23, how many are green? Out of those 23, how many are green? Desired outcome is green. How many of them are green? 4 of them are green. So this would be your final answer. Remember, for this question, it's just saying, hey, you chose one marble and you didn't put it back. What does that mean? That means there's one less marble to choose from. Let me write that down. If you didn't write that down, you can write that down. There's one less marble to choose from. Okay? And that idea comes from the idea that it says right here, don't put that marble back. That means there's one marble less. 4 out of 23 can't be simplified, so that is our final answer. I'm going to put a green check mark because I know that right there is the correct answer. If you got that right, nicely done. All right, we're going to move on to number 4. You can go ahead and flip your paper once you're ready. I hope that you're ready. We're going to do number 4, and then I'll go up back to number 3 to finish, okay? So number 4 says this. A wood board, I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to zoom in 3, 2, 1. I'll zoom in right there. All right, it says a wood board is 156 centimeters long, and it's cut into 3 parts. Ooh, that's tough. Okay, so I'm going to draw this. There's 156 centimeters long, and it's cut into 3 parts. It says the 2 longer parts are the same length. Okay, I can draw that a little better. The 2 longer parts are the same. I'm going to write that down right here. They're the same length. The 2 longer parts are the same length. I can use a little color. That looks nice. And it also says that what does it say? The 2 longer parts are the same length and are 15 centimeters longer than the shortest part. How long are the 3 different parts? So the shortest one, I'm going to go ahead and use a different color here and say, let's say this. I'm going to grab this right there. I'm going to say that this one right here is 15 centimeters shorter. Another way to say that is x minus 15. If this part is x and x, because they're the same, x and x, then the shorter one would be x minus 15, since it says 15 centimeters longer than the shorter part. Is that right? Let's see, 15 centimeters longer than the shorter part. Yeah, so that means it means that the shortest side is 15 less. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a trick. This is going to set you up for the future, okay? So if these 2 orange pieces that I drew are x and x, I can add them together. And then if I add the shortest side, that's going to be x minus 15. If you don't know what I'm doing yet, that's okay. We're going to continue practicing this, okay? But this is a great way to solve it. And what's the total of all 3 sides? This side plus this side plus this side. If I add them all together, I get 156. Okay, so what we're going to define is we're going to say that our longest side, I'm going to say longest side. We're going to choose the longest side. Let's choose a random number. Maybe not 100. 100 would be too long. Let's try 60. Okay, so if I say 60, what are the other sides? The other side has to be 60, right? Because there's 2 of the same. But to get the shortest side, I'm going to go ahead and do x and x. I'm going to do x minus 15, right? So if the longest side is 60, what's the shortest side? If it's 15 centimeters shorter. 15 centimeters shorter. What's 60 minus 15? 60 minus 15 is 45. So we get 60 plus 45. So my next task for the do part is I'm going to add them up. How long are the three parts? Let's see if we can find them up. Add them up. So we get add all sides. So if we do 60 plus 60 plus 45, what do we get? 60 plus 60 plus 45. Remember, the two longest sides are the same. The shortest side is 15 less. So what is 60 plus 60 plus 45? We get 120 plus 45 is 165. That is too high. Sad face. We want it to be equal to 156, and 165 is too high. So let's try a smaller number, maybe 58. 58 and 58. Hey, what's 15 less than 58? 15 less than 58. 58 minus 15? 58 minus 15 happens to be 43. So what happens if I add all those numbers? 58 plus 58 plus 43. Remember, this is going to take a few instances, a few tries, a few attempts. Let's see if we get it in 2 steps. 58 plus 58 is going to be 116. 116 plus 43 is 159. I think that this one was still too high. At this point, I do want to double check though. So 58 plus 58. 58 plus 58 is 116. 116 plus 43 is 159. So that was still too high. All right, so that means we were super close. Look how close we were. We were only 3 off, so we're going to guess that this is going to be 57 and 57. And what's 57 minus 15? 57 minus 15. 57 minus 15. What is 57 minus 15? 57 minus 15 is 42. Okay, let's add the 2 longest sides and the short side. Oops. The short side. 57. Oopsie. 57 plus 57 plus 42 is equal to 114 plus 42. So 114 plus 42. 114 plus 42 is 156. That was correct. So if you got that one right, nicely done. The correct answer is, remember, always declare your answer. So we have the longest sides. Longest sides are 57. And the shortest side is 42. Now, I do have a little bit of an incorrect answer. This is good, but it's not fully correct. Is it 57 inches, centimeters, miles? How long is it again? We're talking about centimeters. So make sure to include centimeters in your answer. I think a lot of you did that and you got it right. So this should be your final answer. I'm gonna box my answer. I'm gonna also box my other answer on number 1. And we only have one more question left. Are you ready? So which question's left? Number 3. Let's try number 3. All right, so number 3 should be a quick one. It's just gonna take a little bit of space to fit it on your paper. It says a new truck. I'm just gonna write truck. A new truck is available with 2 different transmissions. Okay, I'm going to draw a tree diagram right away. One is standard. The other is automatic. Okay, after you choose a transmission, you're going to need to choose the drive of the truck. It says you have to choose a drive. So it says it's going to be either 2-wheel or 4-wheel. 2W or 4W. I'm going to say 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, 4WD. Have you seen that on a truck before? 4WD? 4-wheel drive? Or maybe something else. And you're going to do the same for both the left side and the right side. Ooh, this is going to be a longer one because there's 4 different options you got to choose from. So next up, it says you're going to choose a regular or king cab. Regular or king cab. Regular or king. Regular or king. I'm going to write this on all of them. Regular and or king. Regular or king. Kind of a tedious process. It takes a while to do this one, huh? And then our last option is to choose a long bed or a short bed. So for this one, I'm just going to put long for L. I'm going to say L or S. Long or short. Long or short. Do this for all the stems of your tree. Long or short. Long or short. Did anybody run out of space for this question? Sometimes that happens. Long or short. And let's do the last step. So the last step is either going to ask us a probability question or it's going to ask us how many combinations there were, or both. So this one says, in problem number 3, how many different combinations are there? So for example, let's just pretend Mr. de Guzman wants to choose a truck that's automatic, 2-wheel drive, king size cab, and a short bed. This is only one of how many options? One out of how many options? That's one out of how many options are there? Let's see, we got to count them carefully. Some people like to do little check marks, tick marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You can double check that. But I think that the answer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So the final answer would be 16 combinations. All right, I have one more little thing for you. If this was a probability question, because you're going to expect this on your quiz, right? You're going to expect this on your what? Your quiz, yeah. So if this was a probability question and it says, what's the chance of Mr. de Guzman choosing a truck that's not standard? He wants automatic. He wants an automatic 2-wheel drive, king size cab, and a short bed. What's the chance of him choosing that? Well, there's only one desirable outcome out of how many different combinations? 16. So if there is a question about probability, all of those would have an equal chance of 1 out of 16. Okay? So this is the answer key to our quiz review. If you have any questions, at this time, you can go ahead and ask the people around you, was there anything that you misunderstood or didn't fully understand yet? If there's a question you're still struggling with, I recommend to highlight it. For example, if you're like, I really didn't get number 4, highlight it, circle it. Say, hey, I think I struggled with that one, number 4. And this is the time to get some help, okay? So go ahead, study this, and have a great rest of your day.